From our studios in Scottsdale, Arizona, welcome back. This is Retirement News Online. You can find out more at retirementnewsonline.com. Now we're going to talk about estate planning. It's more than wills and documents. It's about avoiding costly emotional mistakes that can impact your family for decades. It's really, in some ways, less about money and just more about family. And joining me today to talk about this is Reagan Curl from Atlanta, Georgia. Reagan, since you talk about estate planning with your clients a lot, you probably run into some common mistakes that people make here when they assume, everything is already dialed in like they have a will or something. What are some of those common estate planning mistakes you see?
I would say the first one is just having a plan. If you don't have the legal documents in place, you're going to expose yourself. So that's number one. Procrastination seems to take over and we just never get it done. We've often said how often not now becomes never. So that's number one, I think, really. Just have a plan, get those legal documents in place. The second is really life changes, because they're going to happen to all of us. Whether it's children becoming the age of majority, so now they're adults, knowing that the control you have over their medical decisions is no longer valid, and financial decisions as well, so updating the power of attorney, possibly advanced health care directives, getting married, divorce, death of a spouse, and increased wealth. All of these impact decisions about estate planning and necessary legal documents.
So this isn't set it and forget it, is it?
No, not at all. You have to be very proactive.
One of the things that we're trying to avoid in most cases is probate. And sometimes that can't be done, but if you have a will, that sort of ensures probate. But there are some ways to avoid it, and why would somebody want to do that? I assume it's because it's costly and it takes a lot of time.
It is. So we've always said that anything you can do to better prepare those beneficiaries' heirs ahead of time, let's go ahead and take those necessary steps. Wills are absolutely critical in that concept, as well as the possibility of a trust. They can get fairly complicated, but they can also be fairly simple, and those documents can help avoid probate and really enable the heirs to focus on whether it's grieving or moving forward, not having to deal with a judicial in the courts.
And I think a lot of people don't know the difference between a will and a trust, because a trust actually holds the funds. Talk about that problem, because sometimes you'll see somebody with a trust that's not been funded, right? It's not uncommon.
We have seen that before, and sometimes trusts aren't necessary. So we really are proactive in working with our clients to determine what are your goals, what are your wishes, that vision, your legacy, the conversation about legacy planning. And sometimes a simple will is all that's necessary. And then sometimes potentially putting assets in a trust can get those outside of your estate, whether it's revocable or irrevocable trust needs to be addressed, and enable that family really to control where those assets are going and who they're going to.
And then I think finally too, coordinating with attorneys to ensure that things like wills and the trust are all connected to the financial accounts in the proper way, so it doesn't create contradictions at some point, which I think that probably comes up too as well.
I think it's very important for the financial advisor to be involved in that process. Whether we're drafting the legal documents with the client really leading that, we're able to help them draft those legal documents. If it becomes a little bit more complicated or they're already working with attorneys, we want to be involved in that process, because knowing what assets they have, how they're going to be titled, who they're going to, who's involved, and how we're going to communicate to those who are involved. And often attorneys, they don't get that deep into those conversations.
And two, I think a lot of people, by watching this, could assume that an estate plan is expensive and that they might not even have enough for an estate plan. But essentially, if you have anything of value, that's probably a justifiable reason to have an estate plan.
It is. Often we've had clients who've said it's just too expensive to go to an attorney and get a trust drafted. But I said it's probably more expensive than to make a mistake or not have your wishes documented properly. And so those costs shouldn't be a barrier to doing what's right.
This is Reagan Curl. He practices in Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks for watching Retirement News Online. And of course, you can always find out more at retirementnewsonline.com. Thank you for watching.